Hey, how have you been, mate?
Yeah, not been too bad, mate. Obviously, bit of a tough time at Huddersfield at the minute, but I'm sure a win will come eventually.
Yeah, mate, that's it. And you just got to keep plugging and trusting the process, as the handbook says, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. That's it.
So before we get stuck into your rugby story, mate, where was home for you as a kid, and who lived at home with you?
So I was originally born at Leeds, at St James's in Leeds, and then brought up in Wakefield. Lived in Stanley, um, all my life really until I moved out when I was like 23. So I lived at home with my mum, dad, and my older brother.
So was it competitive, mate, with your brother? How was that dynamic?
Yeah, it was pretty competitive. We competed about everything until we got to a certain age where I could start beating him up, and then he decided to say that we should stop fighting now. He'll still try and say that he's quicker than me.
Yeah. No, it's class. That's what it's about, mate, isn't it? The fundamental memories and teaching each other lessons without knowing it, really.
Yeah, 100%,
Yeah.
100%.
Right. So how was rugby introduced to you, Matt, and where was it? Where was your first club?
So it was a bit of a weird one, really. I lived on the street, and there was a field next to our house, and a new family moved in over the road from us, and they had two lads similar sort of age to me and my brother.
Yeah.
And as you do, we took a football down, and they came down to this field with a rugby ball, and they were like, "Do you want to play?" And must have been about 4 or 5 year old, and kind of got playing that way. And then turned out I took quite a liking to rugby because I was sick of my brother running rings around me with the football. Or he used to stick me in goal, and I was sick of just going and fetching the football. Um, so then,
You didn't score, Matt. What you're on about? You didn't have to fetch it.
yeah. And then it turned out their dad was the coach down at Stanley Rangers, and he did like the emerging eights type thing. So he was like, "Come along, play along." So I think I was 6 when I started there, playing with like 8 year olds, and then eventually it come to when you had to. So I dropped down to an age group, but I was playing a year above myself, and I played at Stanley year above till I was under 14s.
Okay.
And then when everyone else started getting scholarships and everything, I had to move down to my own age to start getting noticed that way.
Right, mate. So, do you remember much about the early days, mate? So, I bring it up to lads around my age. So, we used to have to stand there with the photo cards, and if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
got
yeah,
through, they got, like that sort
yeah.
of
I
thing.
remember
Is
that.
that the way it was for you as well?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then
Yeah,
after a game, you had to form a tunnel, and the opposition had to go through, and you
yeah.
all clapped and all that jazz. Yeah. Um, and back in the day, everyone had to because there was no like sat navs at the time. So any away game, everyone would meet at the clubhouse and
Go
all
on the
follow in
big
convoy.
trail.
Yeah. So I remember my mum and dad following in convoy, and yeah,
Yeah,
they've always been big supporters. They still come to every game now, and my grandma.
it's a class point that, mate, because say someone got lost or something, you all had to pull over, didn't
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
and
yeah.
wait.
Phones were going mental, and they're all like, "Where are we going now?"
No, it's funny that I forget about that actually. Yeah, no, it's boss. So you even your nan comes your game still, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
that's cool. That.
even if my mum and dad aren't going, she gets a bus there so she can have a glass of wine and watch me play.
Oh,
Bless her.
nice. So when you're in like year six to us, wasn't it? Like our that mum and dads would call it something else. But was there a town team set up for you to try and be a part of, or did that not exist?
No, just amateur,
No,
just amateur.
was
So
it?
yeah, just at Stanley Rangers, and then obviously played at high school.
Yeah,
Eventually up at Outwood
right,
Grange.
right. And how
Uh,
was the transition into that, mate? Did all your was it Stanley? Sorry, all your Stanley mates go to the
yeah,
same school?
yeah, pretty much. There was a good group of us, about 14, 15 of us, and obviously the early days, so year 7 and 8, I was still playing year above myself at Stanley. So I'd play the year above myself at school almost as well. Um,
Right.
so yeah, and there was some good talents in that team. Played with Max Jowett, the
Yeah.
Wakefield fullback. Yeah, he was a year above me at school, so I played all my amateur with him. Really.
And do you know when you step down to your own age, did the standard change at all?
Yeah, I found the physicality
Yeah.
definitely changed. I think when you're like 14, 15, you get really big lads and really small lads, don't you? It's a big
Yeah.
masculine change. So I found the physicality definitely drops. But again, it was a successful side, was what I dropped down to. Went on to win the National Cup for
Mhm.
under 16. So yeah, it was still a decent standard.
I say you've done well there, mate, haven't you? Was
Yeah,
that
yeah.
have been at Wembley, that mate?
No, unfortunately, one it was of all places, Batley.
Or was it?
Yeah, and I tell you what, it was the worst conditions I've probably ever played in. It was absolutely
Yeah.
chucking down, and it's never not muddy there, is it?
No, no. You've been unlucky there. Like, no offense to Batley, but National Cup final usually like a curtain raiser somewhere
Yeah,
in it,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
oh, they're bored, mate. But so, do you know when you're in and around the same lads, mate, at school? Does the standard between club rugby and school rugby pretty much like emerge into itself because you can still play the same sort of systems and combinations and that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I said, there was a good chunk of us. At club rugby, there's a couple of other people that obviously go to different schools, so you have to kind of bodge them with lads that have probably never played rugby before and just wanted to try it
Yeah.
out at school. So I think club rugby was probably still better, but yeah, we had a decent side at rugby at school.
At school. So do you reckon you maybe had a bit more freedom at school than you did at club? Was it structured more at your club and school was
Yeah,
a bit just play what you see?
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Amateur, we were quite fortunate. When I played year above, I had Roy Sampson coach, who was a bit of a Hunslet legend, if you know the name.
Yeah.
And then when I dropped down to my own age, it was Paul Lord. They used to call him Flash. He used to play for Oldham back in the day. He used to tell us about all these tries he scored. So to have like pro, semi-pro amateur coaches was pretty good. So yeah, we were pretty well drilled and knew what we were doing.
And did you play both courts, mate, or just rugby
No, just
league?
rugby league. I
Right.
can watch Union. I don't mind watching like
Yeah.
Six Nations or whatever, but there's just too many rules in there.
Yeah. I'm not going to say it's like you being polite, that Matty. Really.
I just don't have a clue what's going on.
Yeah. Do you know what, mate? The fundamentals are the same, aren't they? And like the
Yeah,
way
yeah,
the way we're playing in rugby union now is sort of rugby league like, isn't it? All out the back stuff and hitting the
yeah,
lead run there now and then and just repeating them systems. It's just the better teams tend to execute more, don't they?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very similar.
So growing up, mate, position wise, what were you? And
I've always kind of been a forward. Yeah, I've always lacked a bit of pace to play anywhere else. But yeah, prop forward, loose forward, normally been my goal.
your pace isn't reversed like mine though, mate. At least you go forward. There's slow and then there's me, mate. Right, would rugby union have been something you'd have played, Matty, if it was put in front of you? Would you have give it a go?
Yeah, I'd give it a go. Definitely give it a go.
Yeah.
Just never really had the opportunity to give
Did
it a
you
go.
train? Do you train at the rugby union gaff it with Huddersfield?
So we train up at what was YMCA
Yeah.
Rugby Union, Huddersfield Rugby Union.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, Huddersfield have now bought it. But yeah,
Right.
we train up there, and they've put a brand new 4G pitch up there. So
Oh, you flash buggers.
I know. I know.
No, do you know what it was, mate? So when I was 19, they still done a Lancashire Cup in rugby union, and
Oh yeah.
YMCA entered the Lancashire Cup that year, and
All
we
right.
got
Yeah,
them in
yeah,
the
yeah.
quarters at home. We beat them, but it's a bit bizarre, isn't it? You'd think like there'd be something up there for them. But I sort of
Yeah,
remember seeing your pictures where you trained at like a rugby union ground. I thought
yeah,
you
yeah,
did.
yeah.
Yeah. So do you know when you were coming through then, mate, and um, the rep stuff come along? Did you go for rep trials and that, mate?
To play for England.
Yeah, or like Yorkshire and stuff.
Um, yeah, we obviously had like a Wakefield service area, which you kind of
Okay.
picked through your amateur, and then there was a Yorkshire trial, and I was away skiing with family, so I missed that. But then other than that, I think it's kind of since me. I don't think it really exists anymore.
Right.
Oh,
It's a
for a
shame
couple of
that,
years.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Do you
mean,
believe in it, mate?
I'd love to have played like Yorkshire, Lancashire. I think
Yeah.
I think it'd have been a good competition, even at a young
Yeah,
age.
because it is. Sorry to talk over you, mate. I didn't mean to. I think the argument around is like they don't think kids can cope with rejection much, don't they? But
Yeah,
eventually, mate, you've got to learn that, haven't you? You've got to learn, like, when you're told, know how to respond.
yeah, 100%, and not
Oh,
always
yeah,
get your
for
own
that
way.
matter. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 100% agree.
Right. So when you played England Academy, mate, but had you signed somewhere first?
Yeah,
So when
so
did clubs notice you?
So I went on to Huddersfield scholarship at like 14, 15 or whatever.
Yeah,
Kind of to get away from the Stanley group. A lot of us got offered Wakefield, Castleford, and a lot of people were going there. And there's me and a couple of other lads that got offered Huddersfield, and I kind of went and had a look, and he gave us a big grand tour around the stadium and everything. And I thought, you know what, this feels good to me, and almost bring me out of my comfort zone, play with different players at scholarship. And Huddersfield sold it really well, so signed there for scholarship, and then quite an easy decision to stay there for academy, really.
so it's quite a not educated, like mature decision at a young age, that mate, isn't it? So were you? Did your mum and dad allow you to make that decision on by yourself, mate?
Yeah, yeah, and we went and my mum and dad actually drove me over to Warrington when like the I think academy offers came out. Took me
Yeah,
over and Warrington pulled out some stops. They got Benny Westwood, who was captain at the time, to give us a tour, and it was probably a bit more money. And they were actually going to put on a driver to pick up a few of the Yorkshire boys and take us over to training after we'd done our A levels and stuff. They were going to put a driver on, and I think my mum and dad got in the car and they were a bit like, "Wow, that's a lot for like a 16, 17-year-old kid." And I said, "It's a bit far, that, innit? It's a long way on. It's 62." So yeah, they took me everywhere and gave me every opportunity
yeah.
to make my own choices. And yeah, just Huddersfield seemed like a good fit for me.
Right. So when is it overwhelming when you're like 15, 16, mate, when you're getting these approaches? Because I don't know if viewers and listeners know, but when you're at a certain age, you're on the open market, they call it, don't they? So like you're
Yeah,
technically unattached, aren't you, mate? People can speak to you and try and snare you, really.
yeah, 100%. And it was a bit of a different world. I guess coming through as a kid, I always wanted to play rugby, but I never really knew the the ins and outs of what goes on. You know, to like my dad never played. We never knew
Yeah,
the ins and outs of how people get you to sign and how competitive it all kind of is, and what clubs will do to try and impress you and get you to their sport and almost try and sell you the dream a little bit. Um,
yeah.
so we kind of went into that a bit unknown. So yeah, it was a bit overwhelming and a bit. This decision could could be a big one in the future. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and it kind of have. Obviously, signing at Huddersfield, and I've been there ever since. So it was quite a big decision at 14 to choose Huddersfield as my kind of club.
Yeah, no, it's massive, mate, and it's like it is. I imagine it's real daunting because you're starting to see it. It's not all dirty, mate, is it? But you're starting to see the
Yeah,
politics of rugby at that point, aren't you?
yeah, hundred
And you're
percent.
still really young as well, and it's like, oh, we can give you like Ford Fiesta with that when you turn
Yeah,
such, and
yeah,
then
yeah,
they go, oh, well, I'll give you a Focus, and then that's how it can come, can't it, mate?
yeah,
It's
100%.
I
And it was
imagine
almost
it's hard as a young lad. Yeah,
like little stuff like we'll pay for your driving lessons gets put into your contract, and it's like stuff you don't even think about, and it's all quite appealing when you're a kid. But you just kind of got to think what's the right choice.
no, and listen, it must have been really nice to know that multiple clubs wanted you as well,
Yeah,
which is a good sign, isn't it?
yeah, it was nice to have an option, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean we went over to Salford. Salford chucked a great pitch, but again it just seemed a long way to go. I was not having. I relied on my mum and dad a lot to get me to training and stuff, and to potentially get them to take me all the way over the Pennines a lot. Seems like a lot when we both worked full time.
yeah. And that's genuinely your thought process at that age as well, which shows your maturity, mate.
It was, and I didn't want to be sat in a car
Yeah,
my whole like teenage years. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
And then I knew a lot of the boys that signed for Wigan, signed for that. And that's all they did was just travel over all the time and
yeah,
never really got a life outside of rugby.
yeah. And unfortunately, mate, it's a fickle sport, and it so you could do all that, and we know the rest, don't we? Like, especially you that make it to that level, that you might just be back out,
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
and yeah, and
The
you've
amount of good
sacrificed a
players
lot.
The amount
Yeah,
of good players that I know sacrificed it all and then just never quite made it.
right. So say you hadn't have made the rep teams, mate. I know you were skiing when Yorkshire come round, but how do you feel you'd have took that, mate, as a young lad?
I'd have loved it. I'd have loved it, yeah. Getting stuck in, and there's something about playing with other lads that were outside your comfort zone that I enjoyed. Getting a new challenge, a new group of lads to play and have a laugh with.
And were you comfy in a new environment, mate? Could you just go and slot in, or did you have to work at it a bit? Or
No, I was pretty confident. Maybe a little bit too confident in times, but yeah, it's fit in rather well, to be fair.
well, you've touched on it, so I'll mention it now, mate. Is that a series you'd like to see back, like
Yeah,
the
100%.
Lancashire Yorkshire thing? Yeah,
Yeah, I've even like to see it at the professional game.
that's what I mean. Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
I'm sure players would rather get rid of a couple of loot fixtures and
yeah.
make it a standalone event. Obviously, we can't speak for everyone, Matt, can we? But I
No,
mean,
no,
I'm
not
pretty sure it'd be embraced by players, wouldn't it?
like players and fans. I think the fans would
Yeah.
love it just as much as the players would.
Oh, I agree. But you are the ones that are performing
Yeah,
for
yeah,
people.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It's all well
yeah,
and good
yeah,
us all saying, "Oh, give him that 3 games." You can't talk about welfare 1 minute
yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah,
ask for more games the next.
yeah, yeah. But no,
Because you're under enough pressure.
I think it'd be good.
Yeah. And again, mate, I seen a post that you put out regarding the Salford lads. I can't imagine what they're going through. Sometimes, when you see like these contract offers that you'd have got and the next kids after you were looking at, you're
Yeah,
sort of going to think of that situation now, haven't you? And there's some
yeah.
great people at Salford. I've spoke to quite a few of the lads, and like Akko's me mate there as well. But it's not nice to see, is it, mate? It's like kids have
Not
to think of that now, don't they?
it's not all, and I don't know. We keep chatting about it like your mortgage don't have an answer if you say I've not been paid. They still need to be paid, don't they? If
Yeah,
you're leasing a car, you still have to pay for your car at the end of the month.
yeah.
Like it's messing with people's lives, and people who go. Everyone thinks rugby league earn a massive wage, but down to it, a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck, and if
Yeah.
that income's not coming in every month, your family's going to struggle, not just you.
Yeah, I think fans are a bit better at that now, mate, because the likes of yourself speak out on the socials and you're sort of approachable and it's like this really like you're open to doing things like this with people like me. But I do think they're still a little bit clouded, the judgment, aren't they? They think you're all comfy, you have all the time in the world to do things. And I
Yeah,
certainly thought you were more comfy before I started doing this.
yeah, and you don't realise that some of the young lads that are training with us that are on the verge or nearest to first team have got part-time jobs as well. Because the income ain't great when you're 17, 18, trying to push into the first team. So I'd hate to be.
Unless you're an absolute phenomenon in it, Matty. Like
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
got to
yeah,
be outstanding,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You got to be outstanding, otherwise no one really takes a
Yeah.
punt on you.
No, so sorry to spring that on you, mate, because I know I didn't make you
No,
aware
all
of
good.
that, but it's just not nice to see. It wouldn't be nice to see anyone in that situation, but
No, it won't.
especially
And
like played out in front of everyone, mate, as well, and the way they'd only getting drip fed stuff. It's just, yeah, we talk about welfare and that, which you boys have said yourselves. That's not how you treat people. That really,
no, it's not. It's not
no.
all.
So when clubs come sniffing, mate, and you decide Huddersfield, what do you remember that first day turning up and getting your stash? That's, I imagine, a good day in it.
Yeah, yeah. That first day when you can't wait to put your tracksuit on and all bright colours, and I remember Cougar with a sponsor at the time, and everything just had a massive Cougar logo on it. And
Itched
remember,
as well, on it, so it rubbed your nipple or
yeah,
something.
yeah, 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 100%. And straight on Facebook, put it as a profile picture and all that jazz. Yeah, it was a good day, and then obviously, scholarship I enjoyed, and then going into academy where we kind of went full time into like the college environment and did the BTEC. So then we were a really close knit group. Then we kind of spent pretty much 6 days a week together at college together, and then training, and then we'd play on a weekend. So yeah,
Was that a smooth transition, that Matty? Same with the standard as well as off the field.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
massively. And I'd say the standard just kept getting better and better as you go older.
So was it scholarship academy reserves? That what was the layout for your
No,
generation?
there was never reserves for us. So
So you didn't
scholarship
have
was good.
Palliacina off the back fence, no.
Yeah, I
That's
know,
a
none of that.
blessing, isn't it?
Yeah, none of that. Thankfully. So it was 14, 15s with scholarship, and then you went into academy, which is 16s to 19s. So you did like
Still
three,
quite a big gap, that, mate, isn't it?
yeah, 16, 17.
Yeah.
No, so 17, 18, 19 in the academy, and then you either made first team or you didn't.
What was what are people, if you want to include yourself, but what are lads like around um, the times when it's time to talk? Do you feel a bit of a nervous energy in the changes that out?
Yeah, yeah, there was a lot of, oh, I might apply for uni just in case I didn't get in, or I might,
Yeah.
a lot of almost planning a plan B for a lot of lads, and they're a bit like, and then I knew a load of lads that really didn't know what to do, and they got a no from rugby. They kind of worked with a dad or whatever just to get themselves back on the feet until they actually realised what they wanted to do.
Yeah, imagine it's daunting, mate, if you're in that a little bit of like no man's land sort of thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Did he drop hints, mate, at you like during the build up? Did people give you a little whisper and that?
Yeah, yeah, and then like it was a lot of some. If you were kind of good in the academy, you kind of trained with the first team or got invited to train with the first team. And I
Or
was
like
quite
dripped in and out?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
where first team needed numbers, you'd be in type thing. So
yeah,
I think it was like me first year academy. I got called into train with the first team, and they were like, "Oh, stick out, you'll soon get your first team deal." And I was quite fortunate to get it quite young, my first team deal. They kind of
yeah,
didn't wait till I was 19, so I think I signed that when I was 18, and trained with the first team ever since. So
yeah. Because out of memory, don't think I've ever, because obviously us fans, like we don't know the ins and outs, but I don't think I've ever noticed your name floating on an available list before than that. You always tend to be tied in, don't you?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Normally don't leave it to my last year, my deal. I
yeah,
like to get it done early. And I don't know if that's you build stuff in life, don't you? I wanted to get a house. I wanted knowing that I was going to have a comfortable income for a while, and I was pretty settled at Huddersfield and playing most weeks, so I couldn't really have any complaints.
that's it. Don't fix something that's not broke, mate, do you?
No, no, not at
Yeah,
all. And the grass isn't always green. I know a lot of people that
no,
have chased contracts and it not quite being what they thought it'd be when they get there. So
yeah. Especially if you don't do the process like proper in it, you burn bridges and that. There's no going
yeah,
back sometimes, Matty, is
no,
there? And
no, and like you
yeah,
mentioned, the politics of rugby, it can get a bit brutal if
yeah,
if your face don't fit or anything like that, you quickly out the door again, aren't you?
yeah, you are, mate, you are. And you played at like England Academy, didn't you? So we don't need. So this is another big development step for you. So what
Yeah,
do you
yeah,
remember
yeah.
the process around selection, how it works, and what happened for the tour?
So you kind of Blue just rang me out the no, sorry, for the Australia tour. Andy Kelly, who was
Yeah,
happened to be my ADU for Huddersfield, he rang me up and he said you've been selected for the squad to do some training and hopefully go to Australia, mate. Which obviously buzzing about. I think you get a letter through the post, but he gives you that first phone call first, and that was a bit of a surreal moment. And then I think we did 6 to 8 weeks maybe of training, and then they like shortened it down first. And I remember going to that first England Academy training, and they'd laid out like a load of seats, obviously to go sit and see a screen, but they'd laid it out pretty weird. And depending where you sat, he opened it up to AK and he was like, "These 17 are on that plane to go to Australia." Like he'd set it out a bit like an airport of like
right.
an aeroplane, and
Yeah,
these boys that were sat at the front, they were the 17 that were going to Australia, and everyone who'd kind of come in late or sat at the back missed out. He said, "Your opportunity, you're all fighting for spots here," and it was a bit like, "Yeah, we are here, aren't we? This is on.
yeah.
We're only
It's a
taking
good way
so
of doing it. It's clever, isn't it?
yeah, clever way of doing
Yeah,
it."
yeah. So when you were training and that, mate, again, because you're quite happy to go into that new environment and
Yeah,
get to
yeah,
know
yeah.
new lads, it's still got to be tricky, ain't it? Because like you sort of want to get to know lads, but you also know like you're looking at maybe five other props, aren't you, Matt? Let's not
Yeah,
beat around the bush, thinking I want to be
100%.
there instead of you. Yeah.
100%. It was all a bit nicey, and then soon, like when you were eating and stuff or in changing rooms, it was all making pals. But then as soon as you got on field, it was just time to impress, and you
It was
just
eight
had
game
to,
bands.
yeah, yeah, pretty much, yeah. It was like test match
You've
rugby.
got to, mate. I'm trying. We're being a bit jovial about it, but when it gets down to the nitty gritty, mate, you've got to find that 1%, and
Yeah,
if you're really that keen on it,
and I remember Matty Pete was the assistant when we went to Oz, and I
right?
remember we were on a wet day on an AstroTurf in Leeds or whatever, and he took the forwards, he took us middle pack, and he basically had us running one defender, and you had to do everyone in the line, just one and one running as hard as you can at each other. And I remember Matty Pete just stood there with a massive grin on his face, just laughing at us
Just
all.
loving it.
Yeah, just banging each other.
Like Caesar, I'm Gladiator, wasn't he?
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, like Mikulegski and Cam Smith and all them sort of boys my age. There were some big boys, Lewis Bierneck. I remember him being massive when we were kids. So yeah, it was a physical challenge, but yeah, one that I enjoyed.
And then at what age, mate? And tell me to do one if you don't want to answer it. But what age did you think I can really have a go at this? I think I'm really good enough because you've still got to believe in yourself, Matt. And yeah, everyone
Yeah,
can tell you.
yeah, 100%. It was about. I reckon when I first started training with the first team, I thought, you know what, I could have a real crack at this. I remember Blue was the head coach, and I come down and he told me to be almost like cannon fodder. They were doing a bit of ruck day or whatever, and he just said, "Run as hard as you can at them three there." And I think they nearly made me did a backflip. They hit me that hard, and I remember thinking, and I got up, and Blue looked at me and went, "You all right?" And I went, "Yeah." Anyway, go on, do it again. And I must have done this for I don't know 5-10 minutes, and then I remember thinking I could do this as a career. Yeah, this is what I want to do.
It'll be a little test without you knowing as well, Matt.
Yeah,
Weren't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, the boys that had been absolutely flogging me all came over and shook my hand and said, "Respect." You know, you just kept coming and kept coming, and I kind of thought then, yeah, I could make a career of this.
Yeah. Profile picture changed.
Yeah.
No, good on you though, mate, because it's ballsy. It's sink or
Yeah.
swim, that really, innit? And
Yeah.
you swam, thankfully, mate. And I imagine the logistics of the changes are a bit awkward. I said it to Ben last week. It's like, where do you sit
Oh,
if
100%.
you've got established and do you get up
100%.
last for the sweets or first for the sweets and all that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Like,
I went for the approach where you always ate last. If you were a young kid, you were at the back of the line. You waited till everyone else ate.
into the bus and stuff.
Yeah, and if it was weird, we had changing rooms that probably weren't big enough for where everyone sat. So I always stood next to the lockers and never had a chair or all like that. You know what I mean? You just took what you were given, kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I'd imagine it is like a bit frosty in it. And
Yeah,
especially if one of the older lads has been maybe displaced by you.
yeah, they get a bit annoyed at you, and
Imagine, yeah, I can imagine. Right. So when you're playing academy then, mate, and the decisions are coming around, well, pre that, were you real content with your decision to stay at Huddersfield? Because
yeah,
again,
yeah,
that's another real mature decision at a young age for a bloke in it, and a woman if she's making that decision.
yeah. I kind of thought when it got talking about signing first team, I was 100% set on Huddersfield. I was I was loving it, and I kind of thought my face fit. I'd been training with the first team and kind of got to know some of them boys, and they were all being really good and looking after me. So yeah, really easy decision to sign first team at Huddersfield.
Remember much about your debut, mate?
Funny one, really. It was Headingley away at Headingley, the old Headingley. Before it was a nice new stand, and we always used to meet. And I used to meet a few of the first team boys at the village hotel. And driving to the village, I've crashed my car. I've crashed my car driving to my debut. So I've rung Aaron Murphy, who I used to travel with. I've rung him and said, "Mate, I've crashed my car. I don't know what to do." He said, "Stay there. I'll come get you in my car." By the time we got there, we'd all kind of sorted out the crash and got all our details. So I seen him driving towards me, and I've got in my car and started driving back towards the village. So he's had to do a quick U-turn and follow me back. And we just made it in time for the bus. But yeah, so my head had fallen off about crashing my car. I've rung my dad. I've rung my dad, and he's just told me I'm an absolute idiot and all this. I couldn't even think
In
about
very different words, I bet, mate. Wasn't it?
yeah. That was politically correct way you say it. But yeah, so I couldn't really even think about the rugby, so I kind of just went into it. And then I remember coming on at Headingley, and it was a packed out night. And within about 2 minutes of being on the field, I slipped on my ass in the mud, and all the South stand at Headingley went, "Woo!" I thought, "Get in, this is brilliant." All laughing at me, and I think I played about eight minutes in my debut. I think I made like 6 tackles and 1 carry, and I remember being absolutely buzzing that we won.
Always right, mate. Like, so what's that feeling like when your name's on the back of the jersey, mate, and it's hung up, and you know the stuff we now see on the socials, which probably weren't quite about when you were doing it. It must be
Yeah,
like so rewarding.
yeah, and it was weird old feeling just coming in and being accepted, and obviously it gets told you get told a couple of days before, and I'd been in the squad, and then I finally got my chance, and he went, "Yeah, you're in," and I just want you to go out there and just do what you've been doing that's got you to this point. And yeah, to sit in the change room with lads that you've obviously grown up watching, the likes of Jermaine McGilvray and Leroy Cudger and all those kind of legends, was such a good feeling, yeah.
And so, is this come on the back of the tour, or has the tour not quite happened yet?
So no, off the back of the tour, yeah. I played one game before. I played for in the Challenge Cup against Swinton Lions, I think, and Huddersfield lost, but we'll forget about that one. And then I went on tour and then I made my debut, yeah.
Right. So, for one, you've mastered playing in rugby league version of the FA Cup, which not everyone gets to do, mate. I know you're laughing and that, but people don't get to do it, do they? Like,
No.
I've never played in it, mate, and I'm Asian now. So it's like that must be unbelievable because we grew up watching it on telly. I've no doubt you did as well. And
Yeah, yeah,
then
yeah.
you get to go and play in the most highly contested rugby league country in the world.
And get battered by the
Play
Aussies.
against, yeah, and like playing against some of the elite, the
Yeah,
future elite, which you
yeah,
are yourself of this country as well, aren't you? So they must have been like as good as a Super League game, probably.
yeah, they really
Yeah.
were. And like Payne Ass played for them, and he's absolutely killing it in the NRL now, innit? So they had some really big names that had not yet made it in the NRL, but at the time they were good players.
Is that again like a real step up?
Yeah, yeah. The Aussies
Yeah.
give us a big lesson. To be fair,
Right.
they were miles out of our league at that age.
Yeah. And what does that do to you? You know, when you sat there after the game, is that a driver or is it a kick in the nuts, really?
No, driver. That's
Yeah.
where we want to get to. That's where we want to. That's where we want to be, and it's still an ambition of mine to go over there if I can. Potentially cracking on a little bit, but everyone says as a front rower you don't get in your prime until your late 20s anyway. So that's one of the dreams to go over there.
Could I say that, mate? Did that light a bit of a fire that?
Yeah, and there's something about the lifestyle. I know everyone says it, and we didn't actually have that much free time when we went on the Aussie tour because we were training all the time. But just the lifestyle, and we managed to go to one of the State of Origin games when we were over there. It was actually Paul Gallen's last ever one, and to see a
Oh yeah.
packed out stadium, just I thought this is it. This is like the pinnacle of rugby league, isn't it? Over in Oz.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I went over in 2015, mate, and watched the grand final. And I'll be honest, like I just thought I've never seen a game so fast in my life.
It's rapid, in it.
Yeah, and it's like freakily quick though. Even as a fan, you can't you like you're blinking, it's half time.
Yeah.
It's just so like clinical and demanding, mate. It must be like in the amateur game, you know you're in a game and you feel the fatigue, but you're never like out on your feet. I'd
Yeah.
imagine you'd be like right out on your feet in that style of
Oh,
game. Even like you boys, like you can sort of probably hide it when you run in for half time, do you know what I mean? And like be blowing
yeah.
out your ass, but you're asking people to go back and keep emptying.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
That's what they say. The difference between I even found was Champ and Super League. Just how
Yeah,
quick it is.
yeah,
And then they say the step up again is NRL and international. Just the speed of it, and there's just no breaks in play. There's no error. There's not many errors, and but if you make an error, you get punished for it, type
yeah,
thing.
yeah. Well, now you've mentioned that, mate. Say you're doing it in review. Is it painful that?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
100%. Yeah. These reviews have been pretty rough.
yeah. because imagine like we all say it, mate, even in the amateur level, and it is a bit cliche, but don't back an header with an header and don't try too hard, don't do things you don't normally do, but you just do, mate, don't you? You try
Yeah,
and pick people up with an extra big carry or an offload out the carry, and some people just don't have that in the game, so you shouldn't do it, but you try it, don't you? You try that
yeah,
like that ignition tactic, and
yeah, 100%. And you just kind of compound stuff, don't you? You get frustrated
yeah,
that you've given a yardage penalty away and you're on your own line, and then coming out of yardage, you throw a pass that really ain't on, and then you're defending your line again, and it's just like a downward cycle. And that's kind of what our reviews have been like at Huddersfield this year. We're just not giving ourselves a chance.
yeah. No, it's some going, mate, in it. So we've mentioned your debut in that, and you've been involved in a Challenge Cup final, mate, and you? And what what people admit, and I know you're still in the middle of your career, so you might just go, no, it is another week, but they're not other weeks, are they? They're not just another game day.
No, no, the build-up was pretty special. I was, I actually got a ban the week before the semi-final, so I missed out on the semi-final at Ellen Road, which I was
Yeah.
annoyed about being a Leeds United fan. So I missed out on that
Oh, are you? You won't
opportunity.
like me, mate. I'm United. So sorry, I'll cut that out so it looks like you don't mind me.
So yeah, I was pretty gutted to miss it at Ellen Road, and
Yeah.
because I was banned, I couldn't even go in the change rooms or anything. So I kind of missed out on that experience.
Can't you do that?
No, if you're banned, you're not allowed in with the squad. So we weren't allowed to sit behind the
It's
dugout.
nuts, that.
Yeah, we had to go sit up in the stands with all the fans and like the families and that.
So you couldn't even run messages on or nothing, could you?
No, no, no,
I've
no.
often wondered that, and I've never asked you why, like, you can't, why aren't you carrying water or being like a message runner?
No,
That's
so
madness, that.
if you're banned, you're not allowed any influence on the team or anything. So you're not even allowed in change rooms before the game or at half time or anything.
It's nuts.
Yeah, so I was sat up
You've
in
been
Ellen
banned
Road.
much, Matt.
No, I've only ever been that one game. It was
Right.
crazy to miss out on a Challenge Cup semi final, and then obviously they won the semi final in quite comfortable fashion.
Yeah.
I was kind of looking at myself, how am I going to get back in this team here? And the boys were winning pretty much every week, and I was just fortunate enough that Seb kind of was carrying an injury, and he picked me over Seb to be in the final. But that whole week you leading up to it, you obviously stay over in a nice hotel and down in London, and just have a load of good times with the boys, trying to keep yourself fresh as possible. And then we got to go to Tottenham the day before and see all the facilities and train on the pitch for an hour. And they were pretty strict on that as well. No more than an hour on that.
All right. So you're on the clock. Yeah.
On the clock. Literally, a lady
Bloody
was
hell.
like, "All your extras after training." They were like, "Nah, you need to get off now. Like, your hour's done." And I remember just seeing it empty, Tottenham Stadium, and just thinking, "Wow, this is big. This is top class." And then we run out for warm up on the day, and you couldn't even hear the guy next to you. You know, like when you're
Right.
catching the ball and like
Yeah.
you couldn't hear anything. Like you were physically shouting, it was that loud.
Submarine, that I imagine, mate, as well, isn't
Yeah,
it? Like you've seen it empty and full.
yeah, ridiculous,
Yeah.
ridiculously good.
Oh, and you're young lads, so that's like real special, that as well, mate. And it's like, again, not only have you played in it, but you've competed in a final, and like you go down in history for that. What, like, people remember it when they're a nan and granddad, won't they? And they'll
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that must mean something to you as well, because you're virtually an adopted Huddersfield Giant, really, aren't you?
yeah, pretty
Probably,
much,
yeah,
pretty much. Everyone kind of calls me homegrown as if I was brought up in Huddersfield because I've been there that long.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, to have all my family and some friends come down and everyone to see me at such a massive stadium and sing the national anthem and stuff for the club was pretty special. And I kind of after the game, we lost like the last
yeah,
couple of minutes, didn't we? It was a bad way to lose it. Came in and I got me my medal and launched it threw it at me changing room, like where I was sat,
yeah,
smashed my box and everything. I was just fuming that we'd lost.
yeah,
And I was going to leave me losers medal. And thankfully, the kitman picked it up for me and he gave me it a few weeks later and said, "You'll want to keep this for one day." And
yeah.
I was just fuming that we'd lost. But look, I can now look back on the experience a couple of years later, and yeah, it's one that I really want to get back to.
Yeah, and that's just Nels from in it. He's seen it and been it and helped you out. Like he knows that it'll come back to haunt you if you leave that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. I've always thanked him for it.
yeah. So are you someone, mate? I'm very sentimental. So if I had it anywhere near what you lads a bit, I'd be keeping jerseys, programs, medals, whatever I could. Is that your scene or are you not bothered?
Yeah. I always keep the shirts. Oh, especially the home shirts. I
Yeah.
kept that medal eventually. Uh, they're all in a drawer at me mum and dad's house with all like my
Yeah.
old Stanley stuff and all that. And I've got like one of my England shirts framed. So yeah, that's always a bit of a nice keepsake. And
Yeah.
probably when I
Good, mate.
retire,
Good.
I'll look back at it.
For your man cave.
Yeah, for the man cave.
No, and so you should, mate. I say it to you all the time, really. You don't get a chance within a certain amount of them peak years to look back and appreciate the year. It's only when people
Yeah,
like me, Marvia, that you go, oh, actually, like, done all right. And you've done more than all right, but you fellas are modest.
yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah,
people like me that Marvia, you get to think about it, really, innit?
yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is.
And then after that, mate, you have a loan spell, don't you? So how old were you when the loan spell come about?
When I went to Dewsbury,
Yeah.
yeah, so I was like 18, 19. So I'd played once in the Challenge Cup, and then it was the
Yeah.
following year, year I made my debut, but right at the start of the year. And he was like, "You're probably not going to be in my 17 in the early round, so I want you to go out and get some experience playing against men." And I loved it at Dewsbury, loved it. Um, I went and it was obviously quite close to my mum and dad's, them living in Wakefield, so it wasn't a long drive or anything. And all the lads were just legends. They just proper looked after me straight from the start and made me feel really welcome. And then it was a bit weird going on loan because obviously the Dewsbury lads had all done a full pre-season together, and me just getting called in the week before and playing, you kind of felt a bit bad stepping on people's toes or whatever. But
Especially
all
at that age as well.
yeah. Being an
Yeah.
18-year-old lad and coming and taking someone who's worked all week and trained and then got told a no. But no, they were all legends about it and just proper accepted me into the group. And I think I played 4 games, and I found out in the first game if you got man of the match, they give you 25 quid in a brown envelope. So I think I won it twice more after
Is
that.
right.
Yeah, it was good times at Dewsbury.
Yeah. So at that age, then, mate, and at that stage of your career, it was a very welcome move. You were happy to go and do it, yeah,
Yeah, I just wanted
yeah,
game time. Didn't want to. Obviously,
yeah.
they want a reserves comp back then, so it was either
Right.
just train all the time or not, and
Yeah,
not never really play. So it was just a nice opportunity to go and show what I can do. Really.
yeah. And it'll show you the side of your game you probably didn't really have to develop because of the speed, but it's very attritional, I imagine, and a bit more of a fight at the play of the ball or the ruck as they call it now, don't they? And so you've got
Yeah.
to learn the dark arts at a young age playing in the champ, mate, aren't you?
And it was pretty grubby, to be fair. I remember one of my
Yeah.
first games we played against London Broncos at Dewsbury and pat down in the scrum, and I've never known not like it. And I just got an uppercut straight in my face. And a voice from the back of the scrum saying, "You think you're Super League, don't you?" And I just thought,
Do you get that? Yeah.
yeah, I thought I'm an 18-year-old lad who's just come on loan. You know what I mean? Just to get game time,
Yeah.
and I'm
I'm just out of nappies, mate. Leave it.
getting smacked in the face in the scrum. So
I was
yeah, it
going to
was weird.
say, imagine at certain points, mate, you probably had like, on FIFA when they had the error. I bet you
Yeah,
had a target on you really because of your pedigree and where you've come from and stuff.
yeah, a little bit, and I
Yeah.
found that definitely in that scrum that day.
So when you go back, do you feel a better player for it? I know it was only a month or 6 weeks, like for 5 games, but do you feel like you've really learned from that, mate?
Yeah, and it kind of gave me the confidence that I can do it and I can kind of compete and do well in the team. Um, so yeah, I found it was really beneficial, and then I could find that in training, I could back myself to compete again even more with the first team players, knowing that I've kind of done it for 4 or 5 weeks at Dewsbury.
Yeah. No, I like that, mate. And then when England Knights come along, mate, do you know when all these landmarks are coming? Do you feel vindicated in your decision you've made?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was almost sense that it was kind of worth it. I made the
Yeah.
right choice to back myself and go for it. And I love how it makes me mum and dad. proud as well. And like all my family came and watched the first time I played for England Knights, and yeah, they love it. They love it. My dad still rings me every week asking how review went, who's injured this week, and he's proper into it. And obviously, when you get the nice opportunity to play for your country, it's such a proud thing for you and your family.
But it is, mate, especially like you said, like we all relied on our mums and dads, didn't we, for lifts, and it's a nice little pair back in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and your dad getting the heads up there, isn't he? Got it
Yeah,
in the air. Dad, I might be playing standoff next week.
yeah. He goes, why is he playing and not him? And it's like, Dad, you're just a fan now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's boss that though, mate. It's like it's a special like bond you all have about something that you've really got a common goal and interest in.
Yeah,
It
100%.
must be lovely that really.
Yeah, he's nice. Really, really
Yeah.
nice. I think my mum gets sick of us talking about rugby every so often, but we have to talk about something else. But
Yeah.
yeah, he's nice.
What series you watching, Mum?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we always find a way back to rugby. It's weird.
Yeah. No, it's good, mate. I like that about it though. So I know I'm jumping ahead a bit now because you had a long spell at Huddersfield after that, but I couldn't have you on and not ask about the cash loan. I'll
Yeah.
be honest, I found it a real shock, mate. Like, and I can't imagine many Huddersfield fans didn't feel that way. Was it a shock to you?
Yeah, it was a weird one. Weird one. I don't know. I never want to speak badly of Ian Watson. He was a good coach, taught me a lot of things,
Yeah.
developed my game, but for some sort of reason I just wasn't getting picked. And it had been going on for 4, 5, 6 weeks, and every week I'd go up to him and he'd go, yeah, you're not in my 17 this week. And I'd go, what do you need me to work on? And he says, no, it's not nothing to do with you. It's just how I'm thinking will benefit the team. And as a professional, you kind of have to take that on chin, and you're like, all right, if he thinks someone's going to do a better job than I can, then that's his decision. That's what he gets paid to do. And then it really frustrated me one week. I was thinking, the boys weren't even winning. You know what I mean? I could understand if it was a winning team. And I was getting frustrated with it. And I went up to him and he just said, look, you're not in my team this week. And I said, well, I'm going to have to go on loan. And he goes, yeah, I agree. And I went, because there's no disrespect. I don't want to play in that reserves comp. I want to be playing Super League. I feel like I'm missing out on a lot of match fitness and I'm just training all the time. And I thought he'd take like a second to think about it. And he went, yeah, I agree. And I thought, you've thought about that for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'd
Would
obviously
you rather he just said it to you though,
I
Matty?
think I would have, yeah.
Yeah.
Rather
Or
than
at
me.
least had a reason for you. Sorry to interrupt
Yeah.
you, mate.
Yeah, 100%. And then he said, and then afterwards he was like, when you go on loan, I want you to work on your defence, you step in, and I was like, why didn't you tell me this weeks ago? And I could have been working on it in training, but that's another story. And then he said, yeah, get in touch with your agent and see if you can kind of get a swap deal. Because we're a bit low on centres at the minute. I thought, it's a bit cheeky though, mate. Come on, I'm just trying to sort out my playing here. So I got on the phone to my agent and he was gobsmacked. And he went, what? They're letting you go out on loan? I said, well, yeah. He told me I'm not in his team and he wants me to go out on loan. And within, I don't know, a couple of hours, it was sorted at Cass and I was going. And I went training the day after.
That's what fans don't get that, mate. Like how rapid that happened. I'll just shut the blinds a minute, sorry. But yeah,
Yeah,
fans don't get that, did he, Matt? Like
no,
you just had to up and go suddenly.
yeah. And the whole point of it was for me to play rugby and to play Super League again. So the opportunity to, if I signed here, I could play on Saturday. I was like, yeah, bang, perfect.
And what happens if you go, Cass, and whoever's in charge don't want you working on foot? Like, is it just like your game how it is?
Yeah,
Where does
yeah.
that leave you?
So it's something I'd have to kind of go in and do extras on in my own time. But going into a new environment, you just kind of want to get along and see what's going on wrong. You can't really start asking someone to do extras with you after a session on something that you've been
I
told to do.
imagine you've got the power to go and ask for a swap, but have you? Like,
No,
yeah.
no. It was weird.
So when you get there then, mate, and now against Cass, like, to the bit of a chip on the shoulder a little bit to go, like, you shouldn't be letting me go.
No, I kind of just seen it as an opportunity to go playing. I kind of wanted to prove him wrong a little bit. That I
Yeah,
was good enough and I should be playing week in, week out. And I just wanted to get back to playing. Like I said, it had been like 5, 6 weeks, and you
yeah,
start getting itchy feet, and you just want to play, don't you? Um,
yeah,
so and when I got to Cass, I already knew the likes of Sam Wood and Alex Miller that I'd played with previously. So they were great lads and good mates of mine, and really made it a comfortable welcome. And I liked it at Cass. They knew potentially they didn't have the greatest facilities. They didn't have
yeah,
all the money that some other clubs did, but they just got on with it. What they had is what they
yeah.
got on with, and the
Probably
lads,
benefits them, doesn't it, mate?
yeah, and the
Yeah,
lads were sound as anything. They just accepted me straight away, no animosity, no nothing, and just yeah, bang, you playing, and had a good laugh with them. To be fair,
I'd have been shitting myself, mate. I'm no good on like that first day antics.
yeah,
Yeah, nah, like I don't. I'm not saying I don't cope with change well. I don't fear it. I'm just anxious of it.
yeah.
So I wouldn't be great at that. I
No,
go,
you should.
what? Oh, I just can't stay. I'm sorry, and I can't, by the way. But I'd have said that as well. But again, when you get a run of games, mate,
It
you're
did me
back
a
at your
world of
back,
good.
aren't you?
Yeah,
You're in the groove, and
did me a world of good. I mean, it actually went pretty well when I went to Cass. I think we lost to was it Wigan by 2 points and OKR by a point. And then we went to London away and spanked them, and then we beat Saints away in my 4 games that was there. And I actually quite enjoyed being in competitive games against some real good teams, and just
yeah.
all the boys just had a dig for each other. Might not being technically perfect, but we kind of just never gave in and
Oh,
kind of
is it,
yeah,
mate? Yeah,
yeah. And proper had a good dig against the best teams in the comp.
yeah. So when the talk is to go back, are you reluctant?
You don't have an option. You don't.
Okay,
Yeah. The ball's never in my court. Um,
that's shit
Basically,
as well, isn't it?
I
Pardon
know.
me, French like that. Yeah,
Yeah. So even if I wanted to stay at Cass, I didn't. I'm contracted at Huddersfield, and as soon as Huddersfield say they want you back, I'm on my bike and off I go.
right.
Um, so yeah, as soon as Watto got sacked and Robbo got in charge, he rang me, and I couldn't come back that week because it had been too long in the week, and they'd already put the 21-man squad in. And he rang
Right.
me and said, "You coming back next week? Make sure you're all right." Um,
Oh, I'm all right.
yeah. I'm all right
Yeah,
now. I'm ready
yeah,
to
yeah,
go. And obviously, I knew Robbo when he was coming to the back of his career. Um,
yeah,
I was obviously at Huddersfield, so I was in amongst him.
yeah.
So me and Robbo get on really well. So yeah, as soon as he was in charge, he said, "Mate, you're coming back, and I need you to play."
Right. I'll be honest, but I just think it's like they're professional use the way you can deviate like that. It
Yeah,
tries to put layman's terms for viewers and listeners, but it's styles, it's combinations. Fundamentally, it's your mates because you do
yeah,
stuff with that group of lads that 90% of the public will never do with anyone. The
yeah,
hurt you put yourself through, the discipline, the sacrifice. And it's the ripple effect as well, Matt. Your family are with you, your mates are with you. Might not be
yeah,
playing, but they
yeah,
can
yeah,
see
yeah,
what you're going through, can't they? That
yeah, 100%.
again, I'm blessed to know because you guys open up to me about it. But when you're a fan, you just see the game day, don't see the hard work, do you?
Yeah, and I always find it's mentally tough and mentally draining in Super League. The pressure to perform every week, to then, if you've not performed, to then sleep on it and know you've got to go into a room where the video is going to be on the screen and it's going to be pointed out every single error you've made. Is it takes a lot on me, and I credit to my fiance who I live with. She has to deal with all my moods. You know what I mean? The highs of when we've won, but then the lows of we're getting battered, and I don't even want to speak to her after the game, but I'll try and put a smile on. You know what I mean? But she kind of knows just to leave me alone, and we kind of have an unwritten rule where if I've lost, just give me the night and I'll sort my head out and I'll be all right the day after. But like you said, it's the effect. It's not just the effect on me; it's the effect on everyone around me. Really.
And we can go and have a drink, can't we? And like jovial it off and that. You just can't do it without having a phone in your face and that, mate, can
I
you?
know. I know.
Yeah.
I
You're quite
know.
unlucky really regarding that. Like the ex pros, I the right environment and like era to do it, didn't they? Like
Yeah,
they went out and had a booze up, and like if they needed to have a little bash between themselves, it was dealt with that night, wasn't it? Gloves
yeah,
are
and
off
then
and you're mates again. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. If you do it, it's all over like the socials and
and brings the
little pages pick up on it and stuff, don't
yeah,
they? And
and then you bring the club into disrepute and everything. So yeah,
exactly, yeah. And you've worked so hard for a career that you like don't want to risk it either, do you, mate? You've put
no,
yourself
not
through
all,
all that
not
just for
all.
like a little scroll to like put you on socials and stuff.
Yeah, 100%
Yeah.
agree.
So you mentioned, and I don't want to get you in bother, mate. If you want to tell me, do when we can. But you know, like the dream for us, like when I was coming through, mate, you didn't really see Aussie rugby on Sky. Like Brisbane would go at my club, and it was like once every other week or something. Where it's
Yeah,
in our
yeah.
faces all the time now. So with that being said, is that environment? Could you put up with the pressure of the press and being a pommy and because
I'd,
you'd feel
I'd
it a
like
bit more being English, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would, and it being their main sport over there. I'm
Yeah,
good mates with Will Price, who's recently just come back, and
yeah,
he said it's just so intense. Everywhere you go, I mean, we get it a little bit in Huddersfield where people will stop and ask you for a photo, but he says you can't go anywhere. It's almost like being a footballer over there, and he
yeah,
says it's crazy and like little things like having a beer. We do it at the right times, or whatever, but
yeah,
even when you have a beer at the right time over there, you're still getting photographed doing it, and
yeah.
you're in the news talking about it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'd like the challenge to go over there, and I'd like to think I'd handle it, but I guess you never know until you go, do you?
Oh, that's it, mate. Yeah, and it's always nice to dream, Matt, and it
It
keeps
is.
things into perspective and gives you like goals and stuff.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
have you ever been approached, mate, while you've been in contract, and have you ever thought of leaving, or other than this cash move? Because I think you were, I deemed you before that casting as untouchable with Huddersfield. I'm not saying you were ever labelled that, but you were playing, mate. You were doing your job. I wouldn't
Yeah,
have thought you were available.
no, and I probably wasn't. And clubs have come in off the record or whatever, and asked, "Are you happy?" Ask me agent, "Is he all right?" I'm looking for a young English middle. Is Matty English still staying at Huddersfield? And those conversations do happen,
Yeah,
but they can never officially put in an offer for you. Um, there was rumours I was going to get bought out a few years ago
yeah,
and go to Warrington, but Huddersfield said if you want him, you can pay a certain amount for him, and they were willing to do so. So no contract agreements have ever been put in front of me to sign anywhere else. If that makes sense.
yeah. Just a little
Not a
like
rumour mill.
interest.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Because as much as clubs make players look bad when they leave mid-contract and that, because some of them do, mate. Let's not.
yeah, they do.
A club can get rid of a player, but a player can leave a club as well. It does work both ways,
It
doesn't it?
does.
Like
Yeah,
if
it
they want
does.
rid of you, they get rid of you, don't they, mate?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I've seen if people want to go, they
they
they drop the
agitate, don't they?
yeah
Yeah,
they drop the standards and they're gone pretty quickly. You know what I mean?
yeah. And does that frustrate you, mate, and the other lads when that happens?
A little bit, and it's frustrating because you can kind of see the player's side. You can see that all he wants to do is a better opportunity to come on board,
Yeah,
and he wants to go and further his career. And I'll never hold anyone back for that. But then it kind of leaves us in the shit, really. You know what I mean? We're a
yeah,
good player down that for the rest of the year,
yeah.
um, and you never want your mates to leave, do you? So
No,
I guess you can kind of see it from both sides. And I always find that I found out this as I've got older. You're a kind of piece of meat. You know what I mean? Long
yeah,
as you're doing your job and everyone's happy with you, but the second that's changed, bang, you're out the door, and the next lad's coming through.
yeah.
Um, so I can never begrudge anyone to go and try and better themselves somewhere else, or think they've got a better opportunity.
Yeah, and I think rugby in both codes, mate, the mentality isn't to drop standards, is it? Even when lads know they're going and it's announced, like
Yeah.
they still give it. No one plays to lose, did he? Even if
No,
you're
no,
just
not
playing with
all.
your mates in the park, you don't play to lose.
No, no one does, and I think fans
Yeah,
need to understand that. No one ever
yeah.
means to have a bad game either.
No,
No, and we're having them week in week out at the minute, but we're not going onto the field wanting to lose. we'll just
No, not at all, mate. You don't go through what you've gone through to not give it a goal, do you? No,
yeah,
like
yeah.
no offense as well, mate. You get proper hurt the minute you're half think of something and you're not fully
Oh
in it.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Right. So sorry if marved you about that then,
No,
mate.
no,
So
no,
it's
all good.
you come back and you still produce for Huddersfield, mate. Is that because you deem it as a fresh start now? Because you've
Yeah,
already showed how professional and mature you are through this chat.
yeah, and I wanted to do a job for Robbo.
Yeah.
Obviously, him getting the gig, I'm kind of being dropped in at the deep end. We'd had a rubbish season, and he had to pick up the slack and finish the year. And I wanted to come back and have a laugh with my mates again. Like obviously, when you're at class, you're so involved in their group, and you message the lads every now and again, but you kind of fall out of the loop. So it was nice to come back with my mates, and a place where I felt like home. And it was nice to. I think we finished the year quite well. We actually
Yeah.
rolled up the sleeves and had a dig. We might not have won every year, but I think we definitely upped our performances towards the end of the year, and I enjoyed doing that with some of the lads that I'd missed.
Yeah, you can't fault someone that's giving it everything, mate. You just can't win every game. It's a fact,
Yeah.
isn't it? Like you are going to get caught out eventually. And do you go back and go, you stop speaking to me, you stop sending me memes, you
Yeah, I could have walked in and gone, "You messaged me, you did, you did, you did." A proper started pointing my finger. But no,
yeah.
there was none of it. None of it. Just fitted straight back in, and yeah, we had a good laugh and told some stories about what had been going on while I'd been away.
Oh, good, mate. So what about the daily grind really does it for you? Because you've been at Huddersfield a while, but you still look as young, as fresh as, and you're playing these 7, 8 out of tens every week. What keeps you going back to that place to manage to do that?
Yeah, I wouldn't know about 7 or 8. So I'm trying to get a 6 at the
In
minute.
my ratings there, 7 and 8.
But no, I find the older you get, the more efficient you get with, and you kind of know what works for you. Um, you know when you've got to go stretch or when you can have a laugh with your mates. You know when you've got to do those little bit of extras. You know when you can have a proper dig in the gym session or where you just need to get your body through it type thing. You know what I mean? I feel like,
Yeah.
especially when you get into season, feel like you start understanding your body a lot more and what gets you right, so that when it comes to that game day, you're feeling as fresh as you can be.
What part of your development, mate, did you notice you were comfortable enough to go up to a pro and maybe like shadow him or pick the brains a little bit? And do you encourage lads to do that with you now?
Yeah, 100%. I've done.
No, because I've no doubt with like some of the foreign imports, mate, like how lucky have Huddersfield been with some of their
Yeah,
signings
yeah, yeah.
from
Yes.
abroad and stuff. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
I know.
don't know whether a younger me could have done that. Well, I do know I couldn't have, to be honest with you. But I would definitely, if I was still playing, I'd definitely want to help the next lot out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And a big mentor for me as well was Ryan Inchcliffe. What a
Yeah,
professional he was, and he kind of taught me the ways of. I mean, I was like late teens, early 20s, and all you want to do is go have a beer and have a good time. And he'd bring me to one side on Monday and said, "What you been up to this weekend? You been doing the right things," type thing. And I used to dread telling him I'd been out on Friday or whatever. So it kind of keeps you in, you know what I mean?
yeah.
And he kind of showed me the ways of trying to be as more professional as I could be.
And
Uh,
Rolly told me the story about it was the car forecourt opposite where you used to train.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And he was like, I'm getting that car. And Jermaine was like, you're not. And he's like, I am. He said, and when he did, Jermaine was like, what have you done? And he's like, he realised then what he was trying to do. But at the time, you look at him as if to say, just let me get the car and all,
yeah,
that
yeah,
type of thing.
yeah. And
Sounds like you've had a really good environment there, though, mate. Like the likes of you and Ollie in your generation have that relationship with them lads.
yeah, 100%. And we've had some really good players, but not only good players, just good people. And
Yeah,
I'd like to think that you get the best out of a side when you're all just good group of mates as well, don't you? You can
yeah,
be the best player in the world, but if you're a bit of a dick, then people soon find you out and don't really want to be surrounded by you. So yeah, some of the older boys. I mean, Leroy Cudjow's one of my best mates at Huddersfield, and he's a good friend away from there. You know what I mean? He's a true professional, and he's proper looks after the group, and he's just a nice guy who cares, and that comes across whoever speaks about him.
Yeah.
So that's always someone I'd like to think when I'm getting to the end of my career or when I finish, lads will say he cared and he actually looked after the next group.
Yeah. No, I don't think there's a better legacy you can leave behind, really. I know legacy is a word everyone uses, but there is nothing better, mate. It's about your peers' respect, isn't it?
Yeah,
And the
100%.
impression you leave behind, really, mate. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Because there's no doubt you'll leave that jersey better than when you wore it, mate. Because it's noticeable the effort you put in. And then, like, some fans do notice the little effort areas, mate, don't they? The
Yeah,
little
yeah,
1%ers, the work from marker, or like people underestimate second marker job of holding a little bit, don't they? In case your nine
yeah,
doesn't jump and fill in
yeah,
that like air defender space, really, and things like that. Like you just get to break it down. So fans might not, most fans won't appreciate what that
the
space
little bits. Yeah,
intakes and things, will they? Yeah, or like the push, mate. How simple is a one man carry with a push and a two handed carry with whoever's doing it?
yeah, it makes a massive difference.
But it's just, yeah, it's just a repetition and it's knowing each other in it. That takes time, doesn't it? It's not an
Yeah,
overnight thing.
no, not all, not all. And I
So
like I
when,
said, the little effort
go on,
areas.
sorry, mate.
That's what I kind of pride my game on. And I often get asked, "How long's it been since you scored a try?" And that, or "You never score," or and I say, "It's not my job. It's not my job.
You're
As
the
long as
platform
yeah,
provider, yeah.
yeah. As long as the team wins, and I've done my job. That's all I'm bothered about."
Boy wants me do nudie lap anyway, lads. He told me it's in me contract. Can't break it. But that is the thing, though, mate. In it, like you don't score without a platform. I
No,
imagine Tui and Clooney and like Ollie when he was there can't play behind the pack going backwards, mate. Or
no,
you
no.
can, but it's much harder.
Yeah, yeah, hundred
Yeah.
percent.
So when you know your halves are getting noticed and thing, and your wingers are scoring tries, you know you're doing your middle third job, mate, aren't you?
Yeah, 100%. And
Yeah,
that
you.
year where we got to the Challenge Cup final, yeah, like Jake Wardle, Ricky Latelli, and all them got all the plaudits or whatever. But we had a good pack. We had
Yeah.
a good pack that were doing a decent job week in, week out.
You know the week building up to like a Challenge Cup game compared to a league game, mate. Is there certain stuff you do different? Is it a bit easier to target like a knockout game?
Yeah, I always find there's a bit of a different atmosphere, a bit of a different buzz,
Yeah,
away from the league games. We always call it, we always hype it up. Challenge Cup week, we've got to be on it this week. You don't get another crack. You've got to leave everything out there for this 80 minutes because it's knockout rugby. And the field's a different sort of atmosphere. I think especially for the English boys, like you say, that have grown up watching it, the Aussies that come over don't really get how big the Challenge Cup is. But for us boys, to play at Wembley and win the Challenge Cup's massive.
yeah. No, I'd imagine it is, and it breaks the weekly grind on it. Even if
Yeah,
you have to make a narrative yourself,
yeah,
just to freshen that week up, mate. I imagine it's
yeah,
a nice break sometimes.
yeah, yeah. I'd agree.
Yeah. And then when you're in and around that, mate, at like such a young age, did you possibly take it for granted a little bit? Like I'll be coming back more often then?
Yeah,
Because it is
yeah,
rare, isn't it? It's like I know you had that spell probably before you broke through where you were up and around it, and then you
yeah,
had the good spell in the league. But you can see now outside, no offense, like Saints and Wiggins dynasty, not many
yeah.
teams get that chance, do they?
No, no, not all. And there's something we always like to stress at Huddersfield, especially the older boys, that not many Challenge Cups come around.
Yeah,
You get one crack at it every year, and if you're successful, you have a 10-year career. That's only 10 shots at a Challenge Cup. Um, so yeah, I think I potentially did take it for granted. And when we lost, and I chucked my medal against the wall, I thought I'm going to get another opportunity to come get a winners one, and I really hope I do. But the realistic of it, I might not. You know what I mean? And if a runners up medal is the only thing I ever get at the end of my career, I'll be disappointed.
yeah.
But I'll have that experience to look back on.
I'm gonna say yeah, because again, that's because you're in the middle of the career, mate, and it you probably
Yeah,
are
yeah,
think like that. But like when you're as old as me and a bit older, you're probably going, but what I've got there, what an effort. Because
Yeah.
the sacrifice, mate, I know we all speak about it, and it's like fans want to hear about sacrifice and that, but there's a genuine sacrifice to get to them places.
Yeah.
It's not a
Yeah.
simple ride, Matt, is it?
No, and you talk about sacrifice when you're coming through, when you're 17, 18, all your mates want to go out and drink. They're all at uni, they all want to do this. But we always train on Saturday mornings. So I missed out on a lot of Friday nights, a lot of Saturday nights. You play on a Sunday, you miss out on so much. And then as you get older, you miss out on weddings, stag
I
do's,
say the life changes, but it's weddings,
life changes.
christenings,
Yeah,
yeah,
birthdays, and even like when the lads' misses are pregnant and the kid's being born, if you've got a game that night, you're playing, and then you go into your kid's birth. You know what I mean?
yeah.
You don't get to tell Rob, "Oh, I'm not coming in this week because I've got something on."
I imagine you don't, yeah,
There's no conversation like that.
yeah.
So
No.
we're
Same
fortunate.
Boxing Day as well, mate. Like, it might be a friendly, but if you're on that team sheet, mate,
I
it
know.
must be on your mind Christmas Day.
I'm so glad we don't play Boxing Day. I was
Yeah.
talking to Ollie Russ about it, and he said it kind of ruined his Christmas. But again, it's one of them you can't ring up and say I'm not playing this week. I've got something on. Like,
Exactly.
and the
But
sacrifices that the fans maybe don't even see.
it is. Did you just expect because you're a professional athlete, you should put up with it?
And there is a
But you're not
privilege.
on footy players' money though. Like, you know when like Rio said, "Oh, I had to get up and have pasta at 11." Sorry, if
Yeah,
I'm on 100 grand a week, I'm getting up and having pasta at
yeah.
11.
You
Let's
have to,
not beat around the bush. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But no offense, you aren't.
No, we're not. We're privileged
Yeah,
to be where we are and do what we do, but it, it is a difficult lifestyle.
yeah, it is. And I have no doubt. Like when we were kids, mate, Witness used to play Warrington on a Boxing Day. And you didn't shut up about the Boxing Day game as like a fan on Christmas Day. So I can't imagine playing in it was
Yeah,
a nice Christmas day, really.
yeah.
Especially if the weather's crappy.
Yeah, no, especially if it
Yeah,
goes
in it.
down.
That's the thing. Yeah, freezing your nuts off. So I know I mentioned a little bit about your future ambition potentially of playing in the sun all year round, mate. But
Yeah.
what are the future ambitions for the immediate? So in and out the game, mate. What you're looking to do with yourself?
Uh, so I've literally started back at college start this week.
Right.
I'm doing my level 2 and then hopefully doing my level 3 counselling in these next 18 months because I want to go into play welfare.
Right.
Something that I want to stay in the game. I couldn't think of anything worse than coaching. But having I've some sort of experience in counselling and benefited from it myself, I'd love to explore what that's all about and hopefully look after the boys, their mental health and the well-being after rugby.
Every club have like a liaison like that, mate, or is it quite rare?
No, it's getting massive now. Every club has to
Yeah.
have a welfare officer, and the big clubs like Wigan and Saints and everything have started getting them at scholarship level, academy level, a
Okay.
welfare officer. It's obviously all on the funding of the club, but
Yeah.
over in NRL, it's ridiculous. They might have 3 or 4 welfare officers for a team.
Yeah.
So it's definitely up and coming, and it's something that people are taking a lot more seriously.
Happy player's a performing player though, mate.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And the lads that have got their head screwed on away from rugby, usually have their head screwed on at rugby. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I like that, mate. And you're relatable because you've been through that journey as well. So lads might open up a bit more to someone that understands it. No offense to people that haven't, but
Yeah.
yeah,
And I like to think when I'm finished, I kind of get the environment. I get it from a lad's perspective,
yeah,
not just as a staff member's perspective.
yeah.
Um,
I'm a fan. Yeah,
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 all the time.
yeah. No, because it is much deeper. I remember I was only speaking to like Tony Smith the other week, and it's what I didn't appreciate because the Aussies tend to come over on good money, mate. Let's not beat around the bush, don't they?
Yeah.
But like they can't get their head around council tax and telly licenses and I was like,
National
"Do you know what? I never
insurance.
thought of that. Yeah, like
We don't have a clue
nuts
about
in
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be your job, mate, to get the
Yeah.
bins out for them and that.
Yeah. To
No, but
remind me
it
to
will be,
go
won't it?
forward in that.
It'll explode the mind, won't it? And
Yeah,
it'll be
100%.
on the likes of people that do the job you're looking at doing.
Yeah.
So
to help
to
him
be
support
like the
him do
smooth
that.
transition. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
100%.
Are you getting any help with rugby league cares with that or anything, mate? Are you doing it off
Yeah,
your own back?
so Rugby League Cares have given me a grant to subsidise the cost of my course, which I'm pretty grateful for. And the support's always there. The main guy at Rugby League Cares, or one of them, is Steve Hardesty, and he was our welfare officer at Huddersfield. So I've got a really good relationship with him, and he's helping me on the steps of where I need to be to get into the kind of industry.
A little bit of a mentor to lean on as well, pal, innit? And
Yeah,
see where you stand on certain topics and mannerisms and things.
100%, 100%. Yeah.
No, I don't like that, mate. I've got a few daft questions for you then, Matty.
Go
So,
on.
any pre-match superstitions, mate?
I'm a bit weird on game day. And my fiance goes nuts about it, to be fair. I like to have a bit of a lie-in if it's a night game. Go for a little walk down the canal near me, get a coffee, come back, make poached eggs, smoked salmon on toast every
You
single
posh
game.
get.
I know. It's the only thing I can like have in my stomach on game day. I don't like eating loads and feeling full. And I've tried all sorts when I was a kid, and this seems to work. This is me. This is me go-to. And then I have a nap. And if I get distracted on my nap, I am grumpy as out on game day. So, yeah, I've got a little bit. I like to put my left boot on before my right. And other than that, I'm fine.
There you go. Right,
Oh,
mate. So,
and
go on, sorry.
they're shouting in the background, my towel. I've still got this Winnie the Pooh towel that I have to have in my bag. Because it was my first rugby towel from when I was 6-year-old. And I've still got it. It's crusty as well.
Yeah, just
Crusty as
hold it
well.
on.
Holding it on. It's probably got an hole in it and it stinks, but it's in the
The
bottom of
missus
the
grassed
bag.
on you.
Yeah, she has.
You know what, mate? I had United one, mate, and it was literally last thread. And I was gutted when my mum binned it.
See,
Absolutely
you've ordered
gutted,
it,
mate.
haven't you?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
Even
even
if we
think
didn't
about
use
it.
it, though, it was there, innit? And
Yeah. Just in the bottom of my
it's classy grassed on you, though, innit?
bag.
Right, the next word, mate, the definition's different for everybody, but the toughest player you played with and against.
Toughest one. I like to shut Leroy Cudjoe in there because I think a couple of years ago he had some injuries that probably would have retired a lot of blokes, and he did everything he could, all the 1%ers that nobody saw, to get himself right, and he's absolutely killing it again. So he's resilience and toughness, Leroy Cudjoe on that. One of the hardest blokes were Akuma Tai. Just he was hard. Just wrestling against him, he was made of granite. And then probably play against was probably Big Bopper from Wakefield.
Oh, yeah.
David Fafita, he was so hard to tackle him. Him off a backline carry, off a kickoff, he just skittled about 4 or 5 of you. It didn't matter how hard you hit him, you couldn't stop him.
He ripped it up over there. He was a proper. You know, when you imagine a fella being a kid, loving why we started playing,
Yeah.
that's what he reminded me of, like a fella that was still in that state of mind.
Yeah. And he got a bit of stick for being a bit lazy indeed, but I wouldn't have minded it if he was skittling 6, 7 blokes every time he carried. He was a right handful to tackle.
Well, at least you had to.
I used to dread it.
So, your favourite away ground, mate, and do you like the new ones, or are you still a traditionalist with stadiums?
I quite like the new ones. As a kid, my dad and my granddad were massive Hull FC fans, so I quite like playing at the KC. Quite like going over there. And then just because we had amateur finals, school finals, all at Bellevue, so it's quite nice to go back to Bellevue. I've not played there since it's been redone, so I'm looking forward to that this year. But something about playing at Bellevue, just feels a bit nostalgia and a bit a throwback to when I was a kid.
Yeah, home from home, really, mate, innit?
Yeah, 100%.
What happens when you play Hull then? Is it frosty?
A little bit. My dad sports Hull. He won't admit it that he sports Huddersfield yet, but he sports Hull unless I'm playing against them.
All right.
So yeah, my dad keeps up with them, but and my uncle's a massive KR fan, so he was in the crowd the other night watching me play, and he just shook my hand and said, "Thanks for that," pretty much. So yeah, get a bit of stick for them. But
Yeah,
it's all good fun.
fair enough, mate. And what other player from any generation, regardless of whether it's a current or only a year or two ago, would you have liked to have played alongside and why?
Big one when I was a bit of the Sam Burgess era, watching
Yeah,
him kill it. When I was just started watching rugby and really getting into it. But a big one for my generation was probably Greg English and GI and in his prime when he was killing it. I think everyone's watching montage video of him on YouTube, just absolutely killing it. We definitely did when I was growing up. So I'd probably go GI in his prime.
right, mate. And if you could go back and tell a younger you anything, what would it be and why?
I'd probably tell him just keep going, because eventually you're going to get there. There's a couple of times when you're a kid and I'm on the train to Huddersfield training and I'm getting up at 5:30 and I'm going to college and then I'm going training afterwards. There were tough days and I knew a lot of lads that sacked it off and went and did something else, probably because the money was better in an apprenticeship or anything like that. And I don't know. And then you have that doubt that what if I don't make it? And I'd probably tell them keep going because you eventually sign that first team deal and you eventually have the life that you wanted, that you kind of dreamt of.
No, I like that, mate. And you have a good win, and the beers are going down nicely, mate. The
Oh,
microphone's in your hand.
yeah. I
What's the
am
crack?
going for Not 19 Forever, Cortinas.
Oh yeah,
And I have
what a
sang that
band.
I've sang that in Benidorm many a time.
There'll be somewhere somewhere, won't there, mate? I'll have to try and dig it out.
Yeah. There will be a
Nah,
video of
class.
it.
Do you blast it out? Do you get people involved? What you doing?
Oh,
Centre
everybody.
stage.
Yeah, centre stage.
Yeah,
It's going off. Yeah.
nah, class, mate. And if you're willing to, fella, 1 to 13 you played with so far.
See, this was the difficult one when you sent the questions through. This is one that I'm struggling with. I want to go either Lee Gaskell at fullback. He was some talent. I think he was obviously in his heyday at Bradford and St Helens. But him at fullback, I'd go Jermaine on one wing.
Yeah.
I'd go Akila Uate on the other. My
Do you
centre,
forget about you, Arthur? That's quite recent as well, isn't it?
yeah, he
You do
won that
forget
long
about him,
ago.
don't you?
Big
Yeah.
name. I think he's still one of the top try scorers in the NRL, even though he's retired all them years ago.
Yeah.
I'd go Ricky Latelli and Jake Wardle, probably my centres.
Yeah.
My halfbacks, like I said earlier, we didn't really see eye to eye, but he was a good player, Danny Brough.
Yeah, he was different gravy when he was on it, wasn't he? Very
Yeah,
like I am. He's like a pre-Matt Sneed before Sneedy come along, weren't he?
yeah. And
Yeah.
you can say what you want about him, but he was a good player. When he was on it, was on it. My other one, my other half, I'd have to say Theo Fage was a good player. A bit of class about him. Yeah. I liked playing with Theo.
You won't be
Uh,
disrespectful to Theo. You didn't quite get the best of him, did you?
no, we could
Yeah.
see it in training, and we could see potentially what he could bring to us, but we never quite
Yeah.
got him, did we?
No.
Yeah,
And that's no disrespect, sorry. He come with like a massive tag, didn't he? And like a
yeah.
big expectation, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Prop forward, I'd have to go Chris Hill, definitely.
Yeah.
Absolute legend of a bloke and not a bad player either. 9, I'd have to go either Cruz Lehman or Danny Levi. I think Danny Levi, when
Yeah.
he came up for that year, he were outstanding.
Yeah, I was shocked he went back me. He could have won Man of Steel him if he'd have stuck around, I thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I think his partner didn't like it over here. She missed home. That was the only
Right.
reason he went back.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you again, mate. What do you want from a hooker when you want to carry? Early.
I want it off the deck, me. Yeah, I
Yeah.
want it.
Yeah.
I
No
want it off.
jumping now.
No,
Yeah.
no. Just give me it early and let me get my catch right, and then let me carry.
Yeah.
Um, My other prop, I would go probably Seb Ikehefo. Him in his prime when he got in the dream team that year, he was phenomenal.
Oh, he was class, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I'm so glad he didn't run like that in training. He only saved that for game day because wow, he caused some damage, didn't he?
Yeah, especially if they were going to use you as cannon fodder, mate. Give
Yeah,
that a human tackle bag. No thanks.
100%, 100%. Back row, Chris McQueen.
Yeah,
He was class, and again, such a great bloke off it. Move a back row, I would go. Oh, it's a tough one, this. I'd go Leroy Kudrow at 13.
yeah.
I'll move a back row, who would I go? There's some good ones as well. I might have to get back to you on that one. Might
No
have to
worries, mate.
message you.
Yeah. Well, that's you could put Hinchcliffe in second row, couldn't
Yes.
you? If Lee,
Yeah. Him or Kumatai in the back row.